Hey, I don't need these. Look at this. In 2021, Spotify reported that 107 billion hours of music was listened to, which is 12 million years. And the seas of people at concerts, the wealth of those able to generate the most popular music. People love music. It does something to us on a very deep and powerful level. And hilariously, there are actually neuroscience papers with the words functional brain connectivity, Beethoven, and Eminem in the title. And I've read them, and some of the findings really strike a chord. I'm gonna get so bullied. It actually makes sense that some sounds have the ability to cause a wide range of effects in our brain. Whilst humans were evolving, a distant scream had to be interpreted, then acted upon, which requires many different parts of the brain. Lots of music has a similar pitch or loudness to a yell or a scream. Think Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You, Beyonce's Listen, or Adele's Someone Like You. There's a reason that these songs excite our brains, and a major reason for this is dopamine. Let's get into it. The key cells in your brain are neurons. Signals are sent down the neurons, and once it reaches the end, molecules called neurotransmitters are released into this space called a synapse. The neurotransmitters diffuse across the synapse, and when they reach the next neuron, they cause the signal to be sent down the next neuron. One of these neurotransmitters over here is called dopamine. Dopamine is a big dog amongst the neurotransmitter crew and has many crazily complicated functions and interactions, described in no less than 8,426 words on Wikipedia. But one key role it plays is in rewarding experiences. Stimulants, such as cocaine, promote levels of dopamine in the brain. Usually, after dopamine has moved across the synapse and caused the signal to be sent forward in the next neuron, the dopamine is taken up by the previous cell, but reset. Cocaine acts to block this from happening, increasing the concentration of dopamine inside the synapse, which makes the next neuron more likely to fire again. More dopamine causing more of this firing is what causes increased activity and rewarding experiences associated with cocaine. And music? Yeah. Kind of. One amazing study recruited people that experience moving chills during music. Researchers played the participants' music identified to give them these moving chills, whilst they had something called a PET scan, which can detect dopamine levels in your brain. The study revealed that whilst listening to music, which was mostly classical, jazz, and rock, at peak emotional arousal, dopamine was released in the brains of the participants. But here's the question: did dopamine release cause the feelings of pleasure, or did the feelings of pleasure cause the dopamine release? Lucky for us, another awesome study answers this question. Wow, that is music to our ears. Participants were asked to select some of their favourite pop songs and listen to them under two different conditions. Condition 1 was after taking a medication called levodopa. Levodopa increases dopamine levels in your brain because it basically is dopamine, and your body can convert levodopa into dopamine. Condition 2 was after taking a different medication called risperidone, which blocks the action of dopamine by blocking the receptors that dopamine usually binds to. The condition with levodopa, with more dopamine in the brain, increased the pleasurable effects of the music. The risperidone, which stops your body from using dopamine, decreased the pleasurable effects of music. So more dopamine meant more pleasure from music, and less dopamine meant less pleasure from music. This is amazing and implies that one of the reasons that our brains love music is because dopamine is released, causing pleasure, tapping into similar reward pathways in your brain as other dopamine increasing substances like cocaine. Music is kind of like auditory cocaine. And then there's more. You know, I mentioned that paper with functional brain connectivity, Beethoven, and Eminem in the title? Well, it's time to face the Firstly, what is this functional brain connectivity? Different parts of your brain do different things. When one part of your brain needs to be used, the neurons start firing, making that part more active. But the world is complicated to navigate, so very often, your brain has increased activity in two 2 or more parts at the same time. A nice example of this is whilst typing. Your brain needs to activate one part to move your fingers and another part which stores language. So when you start typing, activity in both these parts of your brain increases. The activity of the 2 regions is connected in their function. They have functional connectivity. The way music affects our brains is complicated, and liking or disliking different songs has something to do with how that music affects the functional connectivity in your brain. Show me the paper. 21 participants were played songs that they disliked, liked, and their favorite songs whilst they had fMRI brain scans. fMRI can measure functional connectivity. The favorite songs that they had were obviously different for each participant, but included classical music, rock music, and rap. Sorry, can I just say there's something so funny about a neuroscientist having to download the real Slim Shady for a participant. So we have participants lying in the scanner, listening to their disliked, liked, and favourite songs. So, what were the results? Unsurprisingly, whilst listening to any type of music, disliked, liked, or favourite, the auditory cortex, responsible for processing sounds, became functionally connected with many different parts of the brain, as the brain was processing the music that it was hearing. One significant area in the brain is the hippocampus, which is crucial for memory. And here's the thing. For the disliked and liked songs, the auditory cortex, which processes sounds, was functionally connected to the hippocampus, which stores memories. But during the participant's favourite song, the auditory cortex and the hippocampus stopped being functionally connected, and the hippocampus became functionally connected to other parts of the brain. This finding is fascinating and seems to show that listening to a favourite song means the brain doesn't have to work hard to encode the new music coming in, and instead can start connecting with other parts of the brain, potentially drawing in the variety of pleasant memories associated with that song. And this finding was highly consistent, even though some people's favourite song was Eminem's 8 Mile and other people's was Beethoven's Fur Elise. It's important that you realise I've been quite highly selective with the studies that I've spoken about here. How music affects the brain is not a simple story, and many studies have found highly contradicting elements. But there is something powerful here, and these studies are a step towards a correct and a complete understanding of how Spotify got 12 million years of music listened to in 2021. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one. We're done.